Hello and a very warm welcome to the late-breaking F1 podcast presented by Harry Eade, Sam Sage, and me, Ben Hocking. It's the third of the triple header. We are going to Sao Paulo, Brazil. One of the most exciting races of the season, Sam. There's rain about. This could be interesting.
I mean, Sao Paulo almost never disappoints. I think, collectively agree that it is maybe in the top two Grand Prix of the entire calendar. And it's coming off the back of what has been a pretty exhilarating end to a triple crown. We had a great race in Cota. We had an even more thrilling Grand Prix in Mexico. And Brazil's a great way to top it off. So pretty darn excited. Oh, no, it's a sprint. Never mind.
Despite the fact that it's a sprint, best race of the year. Calling it now. Always is. Love Brazil.
It's going to be so boring.
It's going to be the worst race we've had all season.
Yeah, but it's the best circuit, so I don't care. Whatever.
Good. Thanks, Harry. We've got plenty to talk about on this Brazilian preview. We're playing Show Me the Options later on. We've got a chat from Sergio Perez after the Mexican Grand Prix about Liam Lawson, under pressure submissions. We've got sprint win poll, 1, 2, 3, as always. Bold predictions that I'm sure we'll get wrong once more. But we're going to start with the battle out front. There are 4 races to go in this championship season. 2 of them are sprints, including, as mentioned, the one coming up this weekend in Brazil. And 47 points separate Max Verstappen leading the title and Lando Norris in second, which means Lando Norris needs to beat Verstappen by an average of 12 points per weekend in order to claim that championship victory. Despite everything that happened last week, he didn't quite hit that number. It was a 10-point advantage that Norris managed to claw back at the Mexican Grand Prix. So, following Verstappen's 2 10-second time penalties, Sam, does he need to adapt his approach this weekend?
It's tricky, isn't it? And I kind of dig some very bad maths that if he were to finish every race of the rest of the season, including both the sprint Grand Prix we have left, in exactly the same places that they finished in Mexico, 2nd and 6th, he would win the title by 1 point, right? And that is with the sprint points included. So it's pretty risque at the moment for Norris. He's really got to hope that some things go wrong for Max Verstappen and he's able to really push to the very front of the grid. And that means beating the Ferraris right now, who are a real threat. It looks like a reinvigorated Red Bull on one side of the garage at least. So Verstappen is, of course, still a real threat. But does he change his approach with Max Verstappen? I'd argue no. I'd argue, if anything, he could be more ruthless now. With the fact that penalties have been applied and rules have started to be put into place, if anything, Max Verstappen should probably be swaying a little bit further away from the absolute murder he attempted twice in Mexico. And he says very explicitly that he races within the rules and he makes sure those rules apply to his racing. Well, if the rules are shifting, he, in theory, will race to them. So I do think that Lando is going to be able to race a little bit more freely. He needs to be more clinical. He needs to make sure that he is getting the moves done when opportunities strike, much like Piastri is able to do on many occasions, and that's what won him the race at Baku, for example. But I'm not sure he needs to change anything too drastically. Be better at his starts, we've said that time and time again, but when going up against the world champ, just get alongside and get the move done and drive off down the road. And in theory, Max Verstappen won't drive you into the neighbouring country anymore just to make sure you stay behind.
Harry, can Verstappen afford to have a slightly different approach for this weekend?
He can afford to, but he won't. He will be... until the rules actually change, he will stay exactly the same. He is a stubborn man. And I almost respect him for it. But
he's been penalised for it now, though.
Did he seem bothered?
It's quite impressive, actually.
I don't know, but will he get more bothered if that points gap starts to come down?
He will, but like Sam said, he can afford for it to come down by that much each time, and I don't think it worries. He didn't seem worried that he'd lost 10 points this race. I think he'll treat... Like, if the Red Bull turns out this weekend is actually pretty competitive versus the McLaren, then it's a different story. But I think Verstappen knew he was fighting a battle with faster cars. As you said, Ben, I don't think he does... Oh, this might be on power ranking, sorry. Go and watch, go and listen. But I don't think the Red Bull deserved to be where it was to begin with in Mexico. So he was fighting a sort of losing battle, and hence why he made the moves he did. But yeah, I don't see him changing his approach for Brazil because he's Max Verstappen. I think for Norris, like you said, Sam, the opportunities to make this points gap up now are getting fewer and fewer. He probably can start to afford to be a little bit more risky, and then that's where it gonna get spicy. Because if Norris starts to be punchier, which I think he can start to think about now, because unless there are big gains, then it's not going to happen. And say he goes for a move and they get taken out, it'll cost him. But currently he's not. There's not enough. There's not enough time left to make up this points gap. So I think it could be very interesting if they end up on the same piece of racetrack this weekend. But I think it depends on a number of factors. Where Norris's head is at, the competitiveness of the Red Bull, because I really think that'll determine how Verstappen approaches it. But yeah, we'll see.
I don't think Verstappen's going to change his approach at all. And my evidence is Verstappen's career.
I mean,
that can be Exhibit A, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. In Mexico, outside of him retiring and Norris getting away with an incident scot-free, that was what actually happened, was about as bad as it could have been, in that Verstappen was hit with 2 sizable penalties, and it wasn't that bad. And that's just, I think, the nature of where F1 is at the moment, and you say at the moment, I guess it's kind of always that way, but the advantage that the top teams have over the midfield cars just means that even with these 2 sizable penalties for Verstappen, he's still able to finish a relatively comfortable 6th place. Yes, I know Magnussen was somewhat closing in on him towards the end of the Grand Prix, but it never got that close. So he's got away with 2 big penalties, but fairly light. It hasn't really impacted him all that much. And Harry, I think you made this argument. Again, this might have been power rankings, which I promise we're not trying to plug during this segment, but we seem to be a good job.
Patreon link is in the description. You can subscribe and you'll receive all that content.
There is an argument to say that Verstappen might have cost Lando Norris 7 points by what he did out there. We don't know whether Lando Norris could have won that race or not, but certainly if he didn't have to spend as much time behind and fighting against Verstappen, there's a good chance that he would have been more in the fight with Carlos Sainz for that win. And equally, Verstappen, what's it cost him? 4 points, maybe? Like, he was behind both Mercedes at the end of that Grand Prix. I think at best he was finishing ahead of both of them. And even that, I'm not entirely convinced about, because I don't think that car was very quick. So you look at Max Verstappen can look at the overall result and say, I might have cost Lando Norris 7 points with what I did, and I've cost myself 4 points. That sounds all right to me. That till the end of the season, 4 more races, he can afford that. And Lando Norris cannot. A DNF for Lando Norris is just terminal at this stage. So I think he probably will go ahead with that same approach. And I'm not sure whether I can say I respect it, but there's certainly a little bit of admiration for what Verstappen has done to get him to the point of having this approach. Like, Verstappen was so good to start the year in terms of dominant wins. He was so good at the middle of the season when he was like proper clawing out victories that were really close. He's maximized results so often this year to give him this points margin where he can race Norris this way, knowing Norris can't afford a DNF, and he can. That points margin is allowing him to be the way that he is. And even like penalty points, if he has a couple more incidents, he can get away with it. He's got 6 points at the moment, 2 of which he picked up in Mexico, which still somewhat confuses me because I believe he picked up 2 points for the first incident and picked up nothing for the second incident.
Oh, those inconsistencies continue.
But he only picked up 2 points. So he was only penalised for one of those incidents. So he can afford a couple more of these incidents again. In terms of Lando Norris, we've seen him quite frequently, or well, the last 2 Grand Prix at least, Sam, try and attack Max Verstappen around the outside of corners. Should that continue to be his approach?
I mean, Lando Norris is probably, I would like to say, the best defender of a position on the grid, but it's hard to give him that accolade where part of his tactic is literally running a car 5-6 car lengths off the racetrack.
Max Verstappen.
No, he means Lando Norris. Okay. Hates the Brits.
I do. Oh, sorry, I got my names all mixed up, all confused.
I'm just saving it before people come after you, Sam.
That's so true. I'm right for it as well. They're going to be after me with pitchforks. Max Verstappen is one of the best defenders, and he will drive any opposition, namely Lando Norris, right now, 5 or 6 car lengths off the track. It's very clear that he's only willing to really go to those lengths against Lando Norris. So obviously, in a dream world, Lando needs to stick it down the inside. He needs to get his car on the inside of a corner where either he drives Max Verstappen off the track and deals with the fact he's going to get a penalty, but he has the faster car, so maybe he can drive on into the distance. Or he collides. It's honestly, do you know what the best option for Lando Norris is? Qualify in front of Max Verstappen. Just don't deal with him. Don't get near him on a racetrack. Be so much faster than him from Saturday onwards that actually he never gets the chance to send it on you and push you wide and cause you difficulties. Because as we're seeing in both COTA and in Mexico, Max Verstappen will do anything to prevent Lando Norris getting in front of him for as long as possible, even if that means Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz can wave on by as they scoot down the inside. And it's happened on 2 separate occasions now where a Ferrari is happily drifting on through the gap that has been created by that incident. I don't know what Norris can realistically do where it doesn't put himself in danger. And as we've already stated, a DNF for Norris is essentially championship done and dusted. Max Verstappen kind of holds all the cards in his hand. So out-qualify him and run off into the distance.
I think it's a good point because after the race, Max Verstappen, I think, was far more focused on the pace of the car rather than the penalties. And I completely get it. Like, Red Bull needs to be worried because a car was just, at least comparative to what they've had so far this year, car was slow in Mexico. It wasn't too bad at COTA, but if that's the sort of pace and performance that they have to deal with for the rest of this year, that's going to be the uphill struggle. In terms of like the Norris and Verstappen battling and whether we'll get any more this weekend, Harry, I was thinking, like, I've criticised Norris a little bit for his tendency to go to the outside of corners. But I think at least in that instance, he has the ability to do what he's done the last 2 races and just avoid a crash last minute and duck off to a runoff zone, which we know Brazil has quite a few of as well. If he goes up the inside of a few of these corners, I'm not totally convinced we won't get a Prost, Senna, Japan, Casio triangle.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to break a little bit earlier for the. Oh, there's someone here. Oh, okay, we've crashed.
Oh, I've turned in before the apex.
What have I done? Oh no.
Risk of being on the inside.
It's risky, and it's only, like you said, the tactic. He's avoided crashes, but out of the 2 times we've seen over the past 2 races, only one of those he's ended up in front of him. So it comes with its risks in terms of trying to gain points. Yes, he can avoid the contact, but have you seen anyone overtake Max Verstappen around the outside? I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. I'm just saying, has he let anyone in your mind overtake him on the outside? Because
I think Mick Schumacher at Silverstone,
he gave it a good go, didn't he?
To get around the outside.
No penalty for that either.
Still trying.
Still nothing.
But that's my point. It just doesn't happen. Whether you agree with it or not, Verstappen is ruthless and no one overtakes him around the outside. It just isn't a thing. You're either going to have a crash or you're going to be off the racetrack. It doesn't matter. So, yes, I agree. He's avoiding contact there, which is, playing the long game. But like I said, at this point, he's running out of time, and I think he might have to start to be slightly more risky and clinical. I know it's a different situation because the car was probably quicker than the McLaren was, but look at Sainz. Rocked up, first time of asking, nailed him, ran off. And I think he needs to be just a little bit more like that. And I know that's really easy to say because he is Max Verstappen, but I think Norris needs to send a few. I think Verstappen, this is a mind game as well. Verstappen knows that Norris has this in his mind that he can't afford to be really running risks too much, and he's taking advantage of that currently. And I think Norris needs to match him on that risk factor and see what happens. So send one down the inside. I mean, for our benefit, please.
I mean, the scariest part for him there is he was in front at the S's in Mexico, and Max just didn't go for the corner, right? So even if he is already in front of Max Verstappen, there's no guarantee that Max Verstappen's going to play the fair game and try and go on the track. He just ran him off.
It literally doesn't matter. If you are on the outside of Verstappen, even if you've braked later and you are clearly in front, Max will just lift off the brake and ease his way into the corner. He does it every time. Again, not saying it's right or wrong. It's just the way he does it and within the rules, whatever. But
it's also definitely wrong.
I know, but it doesn't matter what you do. Even if you have the Verstappen gets a penalty, but in the actual overtake, you're never going to get it done because he'll just do that every time.
Can Ferrari win this weekend, Sam?
100%. That car is the fastest car on a racetrack right now. And the fact that the last 2 races have gone to each of their drivers, with the other 2 picking up podiums, is sensational form. It's probably the best form we've seen Ferrari in since maybe the start of 2022. And even then, this might actually be better pace than what they displayed in comparison to their rivals. Red Bull, I think, were better than them at the start of 2022. They had a couple of good performances, but that car is lightning quick. And Charles Leclerc, even having an off day in Mexico, gets P3. It was close to P2. Carlos Sainz was unable to get P1 in Cota because he essentially got unlucky with the line he picked through turn 1. And then he does get P1 in Mexico. They are not only the best form drivers, they're driving the fastest car. Ferrari are, I can't believe I'm saying this, getting the strategies right pretty much every time at the moment. So that's going to go horribly wrong after
nailed on one stops really help them.
Yeah, that's so true. You mean we only got to do this once for each car? Phew.
Some maximum of 2 stops all race.
That's all we need. Yeah, I genuinely think that the cars are all in their favour. They hold a lot of strength on their side. And as long as no drastic upgrades need to come in that work an absolute wonder for their close rival teams, it could be another 1-2 on the cars. There could be 2 1-2s in the last 2 races, and they almost had a third one, of course, at Mexico. I do think they're slightly head and shoulders above the rest right now.
In the gap between the Singapore Grand Prix and the United States Grand Prix, I gave Ferrari a target of winning at least 2 more races to end this season.
Oh,
and I just
did that already.
Yeah, I just want to make sure they're aware they don't have to stop at 2. Like, you can keep winning the other 4.
They will stop at 2.
Dusting their hands off. That's Ben's challenge done.
Yep.
Done for, back to bed.
Done for the day.
Yeah, done for the day at 10:30.
Unbelievably, if they were to win this weekend, it would be 3 wins in a row. It would be only the second time they've done that since the start of the 2009 season.
Stagman!
And I should probably point out the other time they achieved that was in the middle of 2019 when they had a completely legal engine. So,
oh, yes, that was a fair racing car.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out it was a clearly
really
legal
odd that
engine.
You don't do that for other teams historically.
Just sometimes I like to emphasize it. But yeah, they should be favoured. Leclerc has 6 podiums in the last 7 races. No one else has more than 4 in that same stretch. And Carlos Sainz is coming off his best result of the season, which followed up his first second place finish of the season as well. So he is a man on form. Leclerc's a man on form. The car's looking good. Yeah, they can win this race. Looking forward to 15th and 19th. Harry, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we said Mexico and the USA are sort of similar circuits in terms of the layout and the types of corners. Mexico's definitely got more slower speed than Cota does. Brazil has some slow speed corners. The other thing is the altitude that you have in Mexico, very similar to Brazil, another high altitude track. So they worked well there. I mean, they had every air vent available to them on that Ferrari to make sure it didn't overheat, but it worked.
So many air vents.
Yeah, they hot boys.
They are air vents.
But yeah, why would you not say that they are the favourites off the back of 2 obviously race wins? But actually, it's 3 races where they've shown impressive pace. Singapore, as we've mentioned before, they didn't show it properly because they were stupid. But providing they don't be stupid again, well, it's Ferrari, so there's no guarantee of that. But providing they aren't stupid again, why would you not say they're the favourites?
Precisely. Before we go to our first break, this was going to be the point where we did our F1 fantasy update, but it's broken. F1 Fantasy's just died.
I've won. It's happened.
I am sorry, Harry. The anticipation of whether you've taken the lead is going to have to wait a little bit longer, but it's, completely pooed itself.
I spent a long time hacking that.
Yeah.
Have you broken it?
Yeah, on purpose. Everyone's back to 0.
It's got no proof now that he was
Reset.
that far back.
Done for the
2
day.
more things before we go to the break. Surely, 1, nightmare for Norris that Ferrari is suddenly so good. Absolutely abysmal timing for him. And I've said this all season, that other teams are what's going to cost him the championship, not his lack of winning races. And 2, did you hear what Brundle said about Verstappen after the Grand Prix? That it has damaged his legacy. Those 2 moves.
Did he really?
He did. He came out and saying it's damaged his legacy.
Did he forget the 2021 season? Brazil,
Apparently.
Saudi,
Apparently so.
Abu Dhabi.
He's upgraded the move from a bit rude to
Cheeky.
it's destroyed his legacy. That's
Apparently,
that's Real gap in those two statements.
Oh man, you cut me real deep.
I like the idea that he's watched the replay and gone, actually, on reflection, that's not cheeky. That is damaging to his legacy.
It's such a big statement.
Levels to this, man. Right, we will take our first break on this episode. On the other side, we've got comments from Helmut Marko about Oscar Piastri.
Oh, Lord.
Good.
Welcome back, everyone. Oscar Piastri has stated that he has no interest in talks with Red Bull, saying he is very happy where he is. Red Bull has had Piastri on their radar for a while, and in a recent interview, Red Bull driver advisor Helmut Marko claimed Piastri's manager, Mark Webber, was eager to discuss his future. However, Piastri, who is under contract with McLaren until 2026, expressed contentment with his current team, especially after securing his first 2 career wins in his second season this year. When asked in Mexico about the potential of moving to Red Bull, he replied, "Definitely not. I'm very happy where I am. I'm under contract for the next 2 years after this. I'm certainly not looking to go elsewhere." It wouldn't be a weekend in F1 without some comments from Helmut. Piastri's comments follow McLaren's request for him to support teammate Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship, as Norris still has a chance to challenge title favourite Max Verstappen. He said Baku was a perfect example of not giving up everything this season purely for the benefit of Lando and trying to help the team as best as I can. So it's not simply number 1, number 2. We still have the same car. We still have the same opportunities. Should, Sam, Piastri and Webber take a look at this as an option, or are they right in saying no?
It's quite odd, isn't it, the way it's come out, the fact that it's apparently been voiced that Mark Webber is desperately trying to get Piastri into that seat, and Piastri has publicly come out and gone, no. Keep me far away from Helmut Marko. Thank you very much. It makes sense to be aware of your options, and the current champions in both titles are Red Bull. But when you look a little deeper, and I literally mean a millimeter deeper, it's clear that everything is not well at Red Bull, right? Max Verstappen is having a go at everyone under the sun. Sergio Perez is having a nightmare, realistically, for a lot of the time he's been at Red Bull in terms of how he believes he's being treated or how the fallout's happened or his form. And that goes back several drivers. When you're a number 2 driver to Max Verstappen, you're a number 2 driver to Max Verstappen. Christian Horner is obviously a huge fan of Max's as well. You've got Jos there as well. It's not an environment that someone like Oscar Piastri, who, although the most horizontal man in Formula One, I don't think he needs that stress and that pressure. And when McLaren are the up-and-comers, and obviously they look like they're probably going to take, if Ferrari don't get their act together for the whole rest of the season, the Constructors' title, why would he shift away from such a positive culture that has seemingly picked him up out of an awful hellhole in which was Alpine, nurtured him, giving him the best opportunities, and he's won races. He's got 2 years left on his contract. I think it would be quite silly of them to jump at the opportunity of Red Bull when realistically, if the car is good next year, him and Norris will be on an equal playing field to take a driver's title. I think it would be silly to take the risk.
Harry?
Firstly, has Helmut Marko looked at the calendar and gone, well, it's been 11 years. I haven't annoyed Mark Webber for a while. Like, it's been a while, lads. I might give that one another tickle.
Traditions.
Yeah, so I'm sure I can't believe Mark Webber, of all people, was begging Helmut Marko, of all people, to get Piastri into the team. If anyone is going to go to Christian Horner, and quite frankly, I can barely see that happening. So, yeah, okay, Helmut. I think it's just Helmut just making up rubbish. They probably, do you know what? Webber might have had a conversation with Helmut Marko at some point this season, has just made it as a joke, and Helmut's stored that one away and gone,
Oh, yeah.
I'll make that into a rumour later on in the year when there's nothing happening.
He's got a little book of them.
Yeah, he's got loads. It just comes out with another one each weekend. Yeah, I don't. This doesn't seem like a serious proposition. And I don't think it's a good call, like you say. I think if this was this time even a year ago, then we might be saying, yeah, if that's an option, maybe go for it. But things change so fast in F1. And as you say, Red Bull are a team that are falling apart at the seams somewhat. This doesn't seem like a great move if it is on the table, because McLaren has spent a long time building up to where they are. There's a lot of groundwork that's gone into this, in the same way that Red Bull put a lot of groundwork into the success they've had. I think McLaren are finally coming into the good times. Would be stupid to move away now, I fear. I know 26 is a big rule change, but like I said, they spent a long time building this up, and I don't think they're just going to let it go and ruin it immediately. So I don't think this is a fluke, I should say. So yeah, don't do this. Don't do this. I don't believe they are. I don't for a second believe that's a conversation that's happened, but don't do it anyway.
Yeah, I'm shockingly not going to believe Helmut Marko when he says something. I actually think this might just be Helmut Marko's attempt to lure Piastri into his COVID camp and infect him to end the year.
Oh, let's leave that
Still
3 years ago.
Still trying to get them all to go.
He's still pushing that agenda.
We've got a vaccine now, Helmut. You don't need to.
No, the one true vaccine is his COVID camp. Come on.
That's how he stays so strong for so many years, using it himself.
He's actually patient zero.
Injects himself with COVID every week.
Leave that bat alone, Helmut. Right. We know that Piastri is not necessarily against a move away from an opportunity to a perceived better opportunity.
Fair enough.
Good evening, Alpine. Hope you're well. I don't see this one though, like coming through, because as you very rightly say, Harry, McLaren have been on a long journey to get to this point. As to where the start is, I don't know, like 8 years ago, possibly. It's been a long time in the making to get them back to being a team that is feasibly a championship contender. And to leave that team now wouldn't make a lot of sense. And Red Bull, on the other hand, are losing employees here and there. Their car performance is way worse than the beginning of this season. I just can't think of one logical reason why this would happen. McLaren, I think, have been fair to Piastri all year. They certainly could have been harsher. Hungary could have gone the other way, and it didn't. As he mentioned in his quote, Baku, he was allowed to win that race, even though Lando Norris wasn't really in a position to win that one. He'll be comfortable that there isn't actually a number one, number two dynamic at this team. And if next season he comes out the gates a bit quicker, there's no reason to believe they won't support him if he's in a championship winning position. I think Piastri he's got his head screwed on, isn't he? Like he's realistic. He knows what's up, and he might well have like a 64-point deficit to Lando Norris right now. He'll also know that 42 of those came like in the first 6 races of this year. He had a really bad start compared to Lando Norris. If he can avoid that next year, then suddenly he might be competing for a title. Why would you move away from that? So no, I don't think there's any chance it happens. Sam, from the other perspective, from Red Bull's perspective, should they be chasing someone like Oscar Piastri?
He's a real talent in Formula One. We've seen how much he's developed over, kind of 19, 20 months in the sport now. Every time we've posed that he's maybe had an area to develop or an area to learn, he's conquered it within the space of maybe a couple of Grand Prix. And the difference between how he was racing in the likes of the Australian Grand Prix to even Baku or now is sublimely different. He's come on leaps and bounds. So obviously, someone of his age, some of his talent, some of his potential, we all believe that there's a real chance he could be a future world champion. Obviously, Red Bull would be interested. The big question, of course, is how long is Max Verstappen going to be at Red Bull? And do Red Bull, in theory, have a leader of the team? Should Max decide to suddenly either go to somewhere like Aston Martin with Adrian Newey, or even if he were to go to Mercedes or leave the sport entirely, would Red Bull be comfortable in the team of what might end up being Lawson and Tsunoda or something like that? Piastri is a very, very exciting and realistic possibility for a team as successful as Red Bull. They'd be silly not to be curious about whether Piastri might want to join the team or not.
What do you think, Harry? Should they keep tabs on Piastri?
Definitely. He is undoubtedly a big talent in F1. They should 100% be keeping tabs on him. Whether they can persuade him to move away remains to be seen. But when they've got a talent with Lawson, I think it's still undecided where his ceiling is. And apart from that, the rest of them are really young, and they've got Sergio Perez, and for Red Bull, this is their main issue. So I'm sure they will be looking elsewhere. I mean, not that long ago, it was only a couple of races ago that Christian Horner was saying that George Russell was on their radar. So it's clear they are looking elsewhere. I'm sure Oscar Piastri is on their radar. So don't blame them at all.
You've teed up my point, actually, Harry, which is they should keep their eye out for Oscar Piastri, but that number one target should be George Russell for 2026. I think there's a realistic scenario where that could happen. If Verstappen is looking at Mercedes, Antonelli comes in and does a good job. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think Russell has a seat. I think he is third on that pecking list if Antonelli comes in and does a good job. So he might well be looking for a new job in 2026. And if like you say, they do only have their current crop of younger drivers, they could do with someone with a little bit more prestige, which Russell, I think, fits the bill. So, I think they probably should keep an eye out for Oscar Piastri. But what Christian Horner said about George Russell back in Singapore, I think there's more to that. Should we do bold predictions?
Yeah.
Gather around, little children, and listen to my song. My F1 bold predictions, and how they'll all be wrong.
That last line just hits home week by week even more.
Oh, Ben.
Oh,
Goodness.
The worst part was the actual concert they had in Mexico, again, the week after you claimed it. I don't know how many times that's happened to you this season.
I don't know, which is why I'm going back to the well of Norris and Verstappen. I'm just, at this point, I don't care. I'm going all out. Norris and Verstappen both DNF from the main race.
Ooh, spicy.
Why not? It's going to be wrong anyway. I might as well just go out with a bang. Sam?
Quite annoyed at that one.
All right.
Because I've got that they're going to DNF from both races this weekend.
Goodness me.
By
They're
each other.
both going to DNF
From both
from
races.
both races.
Yep, they will crash in both of the Grand Prix this weekend.
Jesus, man.
He's specifying crashes.
Well, I think that they will be the cause of each other's DNF, yes.
Right, okay.
Wow. Harry?
Max Verstappen will get black
We've gone
flagged.
for a trio.
Gonna get black flagged. DQ'd.
Oh, this weekend gonna be spicy.
You know, like Norris is going to get pole and Verstappen will qualify fifth and it'll be the most boring race of all time. They won't go anywhere near each other.
Verstappen's just going to wait up. He's just going to pull to the side and go, he's coming back round.
Gonna have him.
Like you do on league racing in the F1 game.
So, well, those are some bold predictions. Emphasis on the bold. Let's do sprint, pole, sprint, win, pole, 1, 2, 3. Harry, I know how much you love it when we do these sprint weekend predictions, so you can kick us off.
Because I love it so much, I've made it really easy for myself. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 will be Charles Leclerc.
I love that. Sure.
Sprint, win, sprint, pole, sprint, win, pole, and first place. They're all Charles Leclerc.
Yep. We're living in Charles Leclerc era. And then second will be Sainz, another Ferrari 1, 2, and then Norris will be third.
Sam, this could be interesting.
Okay, so sprint pole is going to be Max Verstappen.
Oh, God.
Sprint wing, Charles Leclerc. Pole position, Charles Leclerc. The wing will be Carlos Sainz, then Charles Leclerc, and then Oscar Piastri.
Good.
DNFs for Verstappen and Norris, and Perez is still not on the podium.
After last weekend, you deserve nothing.
If your prediction comes true, Sam, I think it will be the moment Twitter burns.
I want to be the man on the top of the pyre.
Because it'll have burnt from the sprint race, and then if it happens again, that's
Exactly.
it, it's
walking
done.
with a bottle of gasoline and they just chuck another match on the top.
I'm not using metaphors here. I think it will burn.
The actual HQ of Twitter,
Yeah.
of X.
R.I.P. Elon. I'm going sprint win. Sorry, no, there will be a sprint pole.
See,
Sprint pole, Carlos Sainz. Sprint win, Carlos Sainz. Pole position, Charles Leclerc. Winning the main race, Charles Leclerc. Second place, Carlos Sainz. Third place, Oscar Piastri.
blimey.
Love that.
Well, that was something. We're gonna take a break. On the other side, Under Pressure. Welcome back, everyone. Before we get into Under Pressure, Harry, mate.
Hello.
You know what? You can call me Nelly because
Why?
I'm in a right dilemma.
Goodness me.
I am what the kids would call a podcast listener.
Oh.
Okay, the kids only call you that.
Yeah, the old people don't really know what I'm talking about. But there is a particular podcast that could be that. No, it's too early for that. It might be my favorite podcast. And I want to show them some love, some appreciation, some gratitude. And I just don't know how to do it. Harry, tell me.
Right, but have you ever considered writing a letter?
No.
Oh, that's not the answer you're after. No, I'm only
Wrong
teasing.
prompt.
Teasing. Oh, sorry. This is where I go. It costs $1,200. No. Yes, folks. It's that time where we come begging, grovelling with our hands out, outstretched. Please, madam, please, sir.
Oh.
Can we have 5 stars, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
If you're watching YouTube, we all have our hands out there. Yes. Please leave us a review. If you are enjoying this podcast, say you've been listening for 3 years, say you've been listening for 3 weeks, say you've been listening for the length of this podcast, which is currently 37 minutes. If you're enjoying what you hear, leave us a 5-star review, please, because it really goddamn helps. And once again, we'd like to re-emphasize, if you don't enjoy what you hear, say nothing.
Just move along with your day.
Just move along. Turn it off. Turn us off and move along.
Thanks for trying us out. There's other things in the world.
Done for the day. Yes, but please, if you are enjoying, please leave a 5-star review. And as ever, if you're on Spotify, you can leave a 5-star review. If you're on Apple, you can leave a 5-star review and write whatever you like, as long as there are 5 stars associated with it. So this time, your phrase can be helmet markers, Kit Kats.
Done that one, haven't we?
That wasn't for a 5-star review.
Oh, okay, yes.
That's how I outroed the live show.
Or any other treats that he may enjoy.
Exactly.
Good stuff. Well done, Harry. Love that.
Thank you.
But we're moving on to Under Pressure now. We have got some Discord submissions coming up very shortly. Before we get there, we'll each give our own Under Pressure. We can pick any driver, anyone, any team, whoever, whatever we think is under pressure for this Brazilian Grand Prix weekend. Sam, start us off.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the classic at this point, and that is Lando Norris. He's had a tough old couple of Grand Prix trying to get past the actual Berlin wall that is Max Verstappen, because that you ain't getting around that. You ain't getting the Great Wall of Verstappen, as he is in the Far East. You're really not going to make a move past it. So,
Sure.
so he's got to find a way to go over or under or something. But if he wants this championship and they want to make sure they're staying in front of Ferrari, who are becoming an increasingly large problem, then he's got to make it happen. But for me, Norris has got some pressure on his shoulders.
Harry, who's under pressure?
Yuki Tsunoda, you've got, my friend, prime time here to prove yourself to Red Bull. I know he's had a long time in that seat, but it's getting real shaky now for Sergio. What's that mean? What's the guy called as a meme? I'm not nervous, but I'm getting a bit shaky.
I love that one.
Is that Tommy from the
Yes.
Yeah.
we sat there with a pie and mash.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not nervous. I'm getting shaky.
That's Sergio Perez right now. But
Tom Skinner, that's his name.
Tom Skinner, yeah, Bosch.
Not him.
Anyway, not him. Sergio Perez is getting a bit shaky. And this, Liam Lawson has obviously been brought in to see if he can prove he's better than he could do more than what Daniel Ricciardo could do. Tsunoda, mate, you've got prime time now to prove your worth. You spent last weekend in a wall for most of it. Time to not do that. Time to shine, because look, I know there's a lot of sometimes there's recency bias, but sometimes recency bias is all you need to prove yourself to a team. And this could be your time. You've got how many races you got left? 5? 4? 5?
4? Well,
4.
Yeah.
And sprints.
Call the
fours and sprints. You got to be nailing all of these. This weekend is where it starts, my friend. Do not spend it backwards or in a wall.
Yeah, I would probably go for Yuki Tsunoda as well, other than the fact that I keep putting him under pressure and he keeps going horribly wrong. So I'm not going to jinx him any further. I'm going with Oscar Piastri, and I know we spoke about him a little bit in our previous segment. Carlos Sainz is now 11 points behind him. Ferrari, of course, just 29 behind in the Constructors' Championship, which reminds me that only a few weeks ago, before the United States Grand Prix, I said, Ferrari are 28-1 to win the Constructors' Championship. That looks like a good bet. Stupid Ben, you should have actually done something with that because you're not going to get 28-1 now. Anyway, if Norris this season ends up beating both Ferrari drivers and Ferrari wins the Constructors, there's only one place eyes are going to go on Oscar Piastri. So it's been a couple of poor races for him. Could do with a good weekend to turn it around. What about our Discord submitters, Harry?
Right. Sorry, everyone. I was too busy celebrating a win for the fantasy, which has now been updated, and we'll go on to that. First up in submissions is Mo Business.
Hey everybody, it's Mo Business here. It's 6 a.m. in the land of no kilometers, and I just woke up and saw Ben's notification. So here we go, under pressure. But Max, stay on the track for Verstappen. It ain't that hard, mate. You've done it for long enough. You can stay on the track. You can finish a race without running anybody else off the track. It's not that hard. Keep breaking late. Thanks, please.
Thank you, Mo Business.
I want all of that bigness.
Next up is Tommy K.
What's going on, guys? Tommy K20 with the under pressure submission for Brazil. In my opinion, it's got to be Albon. Way out of the points in Austin. Crashed twice while he was in Mexico. Colapinto is doing much better, at least getting some points and showing that he really wants to drive in 2025. Albon's really got to step it up to keep a seat. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Can't wait for the rumour next week from Helmut Marko that Colapinto will be Max Verstappen's teammate in a Red Bull.
Hey, I've heard less far-fetched things this season. It can't be anyway because K-Mag's getting that seat next year.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, come on.
Deserved as well.
I'm not letting that rumour die. Next up is Speed Laps.
Hello, Speed, the sprint race defense attorney here, and my under pressure is Red Bull. That mainly goes because their pace on the hards were slower than the Haas. They also probably will take an engine penalty for Max, and they still employ Perez.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Perez.
That could be if Verstappen takes a penalty and we have mixed conditions. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Did someone say demolition derby?
Goodness me. Ferrari's strategy team is next.
Hey boys, Ferrari strategy team here. My under pressure is Oscar Piastri, especially because he's been lagging behind a bit the last two races. I think he needs to be on the podium at least if McLaren want to keep first place in the Constructors' Championship.
Your voice is so low.
It's excellent. What an excellent voice. You could be a voiceover man.
I respect the agreement with my opinion, but you got work to do this weekend, mate. Come on. Don't be submitting to our podcast.
Get back to Sao Paulo.
Come on.
Next up is no, it's not Ben from Cornwall. It's Ben from Idaho.
Ben from Idaho. This week, my under pressure for the Brazilian Grand Prix is the sprint weekend format.
Goddamn right.
Fair enough.
I thought, was that the end of the point? And then realised, no, that's all you need to say.
That's fair.
Swift.
EMT 24690 is next.
Hi guys, it's Sarah from Oregon here.
Should just put
Hi,
Sarah.
Under pressure this week at Brazil is Liam Lawson. If he wants to keep a seat at Red Bull, tell him to keep his fingers to himself.
Never.
Hang on, did she say she's from Oregon?
Yes, she sounds incredibly
She
British.
sounds almost like Bristolian.
Maybe they're the same place.
Yeah.
Oregon Somerset.
Oh, chance, of course. Finally, we have Zil.
Hey boys, Zil from Ireland here, first time. Ferrari under pressure to keep up with McLaren to hopefully get the constructors wrapped up. And also, honourable mention to Maxi. Keep it between the lines, bud.
Fair enough.
Keep it between the lines.
Maxi. Thank you, everyone, who submitted. We didn't get through all of you, but as ever, you submit in your many tens.
As you mentioned before we got into under pressure submissions, Harry, we do have like an on the fly fantasy update because it has unbrokened itself. Sweet Papayas still leads the way. So congratulations to you. Only a few more races to hold on to that lead. You're still clear of It's All Gone Wrong in second and Prancing Zebras in third. But how are we doing? I have had a storming week, up 6 positions. But it keeps me in the lead, 180th. There has been a little bit of movement further back, though, because Kirsty has gone up by 42 places. Damn, that's some good work. Sam, you haven't moved. You're still 350.
I'm the only person in the whole league that hasn't moved a position.
Good work.
Thanks.
Harry.
The hack works.
I'm convinced Sam's got this the wrong way round because the number that you're at now is better than the number you were at before.
And substantially better.
You've flown up.
You've gone up from 1,520th to 1,483rd. The man is right. He has got us all exactly where he wants us.
The comeback begins now, boys.
Imagine if you're like Lightning McQueen with me at the end of the season and you're just like, tongue over the line, you beat me by a place.
Finally, not changing my team worked. It was a Norris, Russell, Gasly, Haas, McLaren team. I did have Colapinto and Tsunoda. Tsunoda's let me down on that one. But anyway, apart from that, excellent.
I mean, with so many races left in the season, Harry, you've got some time to make this back up.
You know, I'm realising something that you've said all along. Having good constructors really helps.
I still haven't followed this rule.
I think I might have said that back at Saudi Arabia, but okay. Yeah, you probably weren't here.
Oh, yeah, that's very fair. I missed that one.
Right, let's move on to some comments after the Mexican Grand Prix from Sergio Perez about Liam Lawson. This was something that we discussed quite a bit in the review episode, but of course that was before any of the media quotes came out. So he criticised Sergio Perez, Liam Lawson's attitude after their clash during the race. The incident on track occurred in turn 4 when Perez attempted to overtake Lawson. Perez took the inside line, but Lawson held his ground around turn 5, making contact with Perez's floor and side pod, which caused Perez to lose downforce. Adding to the tension, Lawson later overtook Perez on the straight, including a middle finger gesture, which he has apologised for since. Perez was frustrated by Lawson's approach. He had the following to say: I had the maneuver into turn 4, and then he was outside the track and just came straight like if there was no car there. I think he could have avoided the incident. There was no need. We damaged both of our races. It was a little bit too much. He's not getting any penalties. None of this is his fault as well. When asked about his relationship with Lawson, Perez replied, I don't have any relationship with him. I think the way he has come into Formula One, I don't think he has the right attitude for it. He needs to be a bit more humble. When a 2-time world champion, Fernando Alonso, was saying things last weekend, he completely ignored him. You have to be respectful as well, off track and on track. I think he's a great driver, and I hope for him that he can step back and learn from it. So, no backing down from Sergio Perez, Sam.
What did Sergio Perez say about Max Verstappen's defence against Lando Norris?
Fair move.
Oh, is that what he said, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that wasn't on him.
No, but my point stands that if you're going to be so critical of, someone who is new to the sport, who is maybe defending harshly, and I actually still don't think it's Lawson's fault, what do you say about your teammate who is now a veteran of the sport, a multiple-time world champion, possibly going to be a 4-time world champion, who has just been penalised by 20 seconds for running a driver off the track repeatedly? Come on, stop being bitter. Stop being annoyed that you threw your car into an incident where you didn't need to, and you rushed an incident and you cost yourself a lot of possible points, and you've damaged your own career at your home Grand Prix. And I just think he's doubled down. He's doubled down because he's a bit embarrassed. I think he made a mistake. And you can come for me. I don't think this is Lawson's fault. In the initial defence, when Lawson was covering off from Perez, he left exactly a car's width of room, and it was fine. And on the way back, when Perez was still going for it, there was still room. It was close, but Perez did not need to risk it the way he did. I think it's on Perez as the attacking driver, not on Lawson. And it's annoying me that Perez is not critiquing all other moves that are similar to this. I get that Lawson's been on the line. He was on the line with Fernando Alonso as well. But once Fernando Alonso and Lawson had dealt with their problems and then raced each other again the next day, there was no problems. They both moved on and they were buds. And they would go like, with races racing, whatever, moving on. But Perez is still going on about it. He's not doing a very good job on the track. And I don't think he's doing a very good job off the track. So sort your attitude out, Perez.
Harry, did you have any thoughts on his comments?
Yeah, they seem a bit unjust. Firstly, Liam Lawson. Bless you, Ben.
Bless you.
Liam Lawson apologising for flicking the bird at Sergio Perez. Don't apologise. That's just funny.
Do it again.
Yeah, I rate it. But yeah, the actual comments from Sergio. I know he used the Alonso example. I think where that differs is that Alonso was they were mid move before Lawson was sort of cutting him off pretty harshly. Again, it's pretty borderline that one. So yeah, but it's a different sort of move. Sergio sent it. Lawson had already covered that off and decided he was going to send it anyway when he didn't need to. It was two very different sorts of moves. So I don't really agree with that as a comparison. Also, Sergio, I mean this with no disrespect. He's Fernando Alonso, and you're not. So
I mean it with disrespect.
Okay, well that's Sam.
And to be fair, none of us are Fernando Alonso.
True, exactly.
And we never will be.
We never will be. But
it's a bit sad.
He's probably got more of a right to say that. And also, if Alonso was in that situation, the exact same situation you were in, Sergio, at the weekend, he would not have sent that down the inside. It just wouldn't have happened. And neither would have Hamilton. Neither would, I don't think, dare say Verstappen would have bothered, because why? At that point, he's not fighting for a championship. And the reason he's this annoyed is because he knows the threat that Lawson is. But I don't think the way he's going about it in terms of coming out and having a go at him in the media is just the right way to go about it, because it just screams of a man who feels threatened by Lawson. So I don't think this was worth the punt from Perez in terms of these comments, because I just don't think it's coming across how he's hoping it comes across. And I know he's trying to do it in the same way Alonso did, but again, like I said, there's different scenarios, different levels of skill between Alonso and Perez, and I just don't think it's coming across as how Perez is intending it to.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head about how often we'll have these on-track quarrels that as soon as the drivers have had a little bit of time to cool down, they get to the media pen and they'll be a bit more reserved about these comments. Sergio Perez did not follow that. He was still clearly very angry about what happened by the time he was talking to the media. And you're absolutely right that it's kind of telling, because this was a fighting response from Sergio Perez, and you only give a fighting response if you're in a fight. And ultimately, even when he says things like, I'm going to be here competing for the win next year, and he has a contract in place, a more secure driver in terms of their future wouldn't have bothered with these comments about a team and a driver that is, in theory, far lower than where they are. He would have, I think, said something along the lines of, it's natural to have some disagreements out on track. We'll discuss it later. It's all fine. Like he could have easily said something like that. Instead, he's opened up this whole dialogue of this rivalry now, apparently. I'm not sure what he expects from Liam Lawson. Maybe he and other members of Red Bull have got too used to RB drivers and AlphaTauri drivers before that, just jumping out of the way because of the relationship between the two teams. But we know what Liam Lawson's MO is. We know what Liam Lawson's, why he's in F1, what he needs to do to prove himself. He's come in very late in the season and he hasn't got a lot of time to make an impact. Can we really be that surprised that he is defending positions more than the average RB driver would? I don't think we should be surprised. So him saying that he doesn't have the right attitude for F1, I think was, I'm not even going to say it's uncalled for. I just think it's wrong. Like, okay, in that instance, Verstappen and Schumacher probably don't have the right attitude for F1 either. They won some
Do you
championships.
know what? He wouldn't have the right attitude in F1 if he immediately laid down and went, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll get out your way immediately." And I actually respect that he stuck his middle finger out of the car and was like, "Nah, I deserve to be here, and I'm racing you harsh, but I'm racing you fair." And he owned his place on the track. I would be worried if he didn't get his back up and defend himself.
And by the looks of it, I'm not sure Christian Horner was particularly pleased with Liam Lawson's antics, as we saw at least the start of a conversation they were looking to have. They just want to make 2 extra points, a bit of housekeeping. As we mentioned, Christian Horner, him presenting the telemetry as to Lando Norris not making the corner is the biggest ick of all time.
That is vile. Let it go, man.
I think I vomited as I watched it. Also, there were comments from Helmut Marko after this race to basically say that Lawson shouldn't have fought the position as hard as he did. And Christian Horner at almost the same time saying how this proves that RB and Red Bull are independent teams.
Oh, of course he's used it. Of course he's used it.
Which one is it? It's got to be one or the other. Come on. Yeah. So
Zach Brown will love that.
Oh, yeah. He'll absolutely love that. Shall we take one final break on this episode and play Show Me the Options on the other side?
Okay.
I was just waiting for your response. Come on.
Sorry.
Yes.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Show Me the Options.
Shut me my options!
Show me the options. There are 6 questions in front of me. Sam and Harry will take it in turns, picking a question to answer. If they are feeling confident about the question I ask them, they can try and answer it straight away. And if they get it right, they get 2 points. But if they'd like a little bit more help, I can present them with 3 multiple choice options. All they have to do is say those immortal words, show me the options. I'll present those 3 options to them. If they then get it right, they get 1 point. Of course, a wrong answer on either of them gets 0. So, Sam, start us off. What number would you like?
I'm going to start at the back. Number 6, please.
Rogue.
I know. I'm a rogue guy.
Which Finnish driver...
None of them.
Well, that's 2 points. Great.
Yay! Okay, yeah.
Which Finnish driver has got the most pole positions?
Valtteri Bottas.
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
I want the good news because he wasn't in the Show Me My Options either.
He was in the options. And he wasn't the right one. So you could have said, show me my options, and you'd have got it wrong anyway. Bottas has 20 pole positions, but that's 6 fewer than...
Hakkinen?
Hakkinen.
That was my other option going with.
Bottas has 20 pole positions. That's mad.
Go on, Botties.
Up the bossies.
Okay.
Harry, pick a number, please.
Number 1, please.
Number 1. Who was the last driver to win a race on Bridgestone tyres?
Oofed.
Size large.
Sebastian Vettel.
I won't keep you in suspense. That is correct. Well
nice.
done. Which race?
The last one of 2010. Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi 2010. Very well done.
Like
which means
encyclopedia sometimes.
Of Bridgestone tyres.
They call him Mr. Bridgestone.
They call him Mr. Bridgestone.
Yeah, there's a Michelin man and me.
And I've been Mr. Bridgestone.
You are the rival of Michelin Man.
No one knows him.
The worst.
Really
mascot.
poorly marketed. Right. Sam, you're 2-0 down. What number would you like?
5, please, Ben.
Number 5. Who finished as the best rookie in the 2001 season?
Oh, show me my options.
Your options are Kimi Raikkonen, Enrique Bernaldi, and Juan Pablo Montoya.
I'm going to go Kimi.
Sure you don't want to go Bernaldi?
Oh, it was the laugh from Harry that made me think otherwise.
It's neither of them. It's Montoya. Montoya was 6th for that season. Raikkonen was 10th. Bernoldi just missed out. He was 21st.
You telling,
by a whisker.
telling me Bernoldi didn't get it for his defence of David Coulthard at the Monaco GP? That's savage.
I love me some niche banter.
That is historic F1 banter.
Right, back over to you, Harry.
Oh, God, number 4?
Number 4.
Thank God.
Montjuic has hosted which
Bless you.
F1 race?
Oh,
Sorry,
right,
what?
sorry.
Monge 2.
I thought you were sneezing again, Ben. Montjuic.
Montjuic, yes.
What's the question?
What race has it hosted?
Oh,
I'll go Sherman. I feel like I can have an educated guess, but I'll do Sherman my options. Hey, sorry.
Your options are the Spanish Grand Prix, the Portuguese Grand Prix, and the Moroccan Grand Prix.
Well, that's bad because I was going to say
no,
French.
for the one you wanted.
I'll go Spanish.
And you are right to go Spanish. Well done.
Goodness me.
In the Barcelona area, I believe.
That's Catalan.
Sam, one more opportunity.
Catchphrase.
Please.
That's Catalan.
That's Catalan.
Pick a different one.
Yeah, good.
Would you like number 2 or would you like...
Number 3.
Didn't even need to ask.
Can I just say, sorry, side note, someone found that in the Discord, the actual, the where the 3 is from, the actual
Why
clip.
have they not tagged me in that?
But thank you for finding that because we've looked.
We've struggled.
But I'm so glad you've proved we're not mad.
Yes. Well, maybe not mad.
Well,
At least not
mad.
for that.
Yeah.
Number 3, Sam. In what year did Max Verstappen first win the first race of the season?
Oh, crikey. 2021.
No.
Oh, well.
In what year did he win the first year of the first race of
First race the first year. No, first race of the year.
First race of the season. Any idea, Harry?
There's only so many you can choose from.
Last year?
2023.
Wow.
But also this year, no?
Oh, that's
Yeah, he did it this year. He did it this year as well.
Oh, you're
but
saying for the first time he won the first race of the season. Sorry, I'm with you. Gotcha.
according to my notes, 2023 happened before 2024.
I think you might be correct on that.
I will double check. Which just leaves you, Harry, with number 2 or number 2?
Number 2, please.
Great choice. Where did Hamilton first claim a podium in 2024, excluding any sprints?
I actually don't know.
There's an option you could do if you don't know.
Yeah, go on, show me my options.
Your options are Japan, Imola, and Spain.
See, I had Spain because absolute merchants. I'll go Spain.
It's got to be.
Yeah, Spain.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course. Of course it's Spain. Well done. Using the options to your advantage, getting the point and winning 4-0 this time around.
See, that's not the embarrassment when I lose 4-0. When you were doing it on the live show, you're being a mega mockery of.
I'm still not over that.
Yeah, they
live
really
audience
sent you for
absolutely rinsed me.
many bags of chips you would call that there.
Oh dear.
But don't you worry about losing that one, Sam, because I happen to have something for you that I can only describe as the greatest segment in all of Formula One podcasting. It is the
LB question of the week. I missed the live show version.
Yeah,
The best version.
So good.
we need to get an orchestra in to do one of those.
Yeah, just get him in the corner of the room.
That's
Sit behind
behind
sound.
afford, right?
I'm me here in this small space.
Question of the week. If you missed it, folks, after the Mexican Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc said a naughty word in the post-race press conference, which of course is punishable by death, according to Mohammed Ben Sulayem. So we asked the question, what should his punishment be? And we got some very reasonable answers.
Yeah, Nilo, I think that's how you say your name, I'm so sorry, on Instagram said he has to make a song with Max now that they have become rappers, which I thought was really good. Very funny.
Very good. Nate has said he has to start behind my fantasy team in the next race.
God, that's a lot of overtakes.
It's not that far back now, not after this week.
Doing a favour there.
It's still a fair way.
Shut up, Ben. V says permanently change his name to Chuckles the Chuckles LeCluckles, which
imagine
that'd be funny. And here comes LeCluckles.
It rolls off the tongue.
I have an answer here from James, which could also double up as a great album title. No croissants until Qatar.
Oh yeah, that's the name of our next album.
It's a great album title. Maddie says swap jobs with Charles Leclerc for a week, which is hard because
be in a cupboard.
Yeah, be in a cupboard in Texas. That is a punishment, I guess.
Answer from Danny. Jeez, massage Crofty's feet.
Oh, that's a real punishment.
NSFW responses.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
This one here from Jesus. He has to race in Lando's car, but Max can't know that they switched. That could provide some interesting results. What do you mean 3240? What do you mean?
Oh God, we're gonna die.
I find it unreasonably funny that we've now mentioned it and didn't get a response to why.
Just another number.
As if we didn't say anything.
It's even worse.
Doesn't even listen to the podcast. Has no idea we've said anything.
Did we work out how long we got left? It's about 2 years or something.
Just over 2 years.
Just a taste of it poisony, actually.
Cheers to you boys for the next 2 years. We like this one from Myra. He has to listen to Sam's Leclerc Texan accent.
Again, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Yeah, that's pretty punishing.
I all had to listen.
I've got an answer from.
Oh, sorry, Ben.
I was going to say I've got an answer from Mike, which is he must now use a microwave that spins the wrong way.
Makes things colder.
Oh, that old trick.
Oh, God.
Seth has said he has to get his sausage out for Gasly.
Oh, happily.
No.
Carol here says he has to wash Carlos's post-race hair, to which Roloff said, that's not a punishment.
Well.
It's your own.
Carlos has got
nice
lovely hair. Yeah, he's got lovely
I can't believe
hair.
he looks that good after a race. Ridiculous.
Did you see the answer from Ethan, which actually came up in my hidden comments, which I can't quite understand why, but a real callback of a reference, helping Postman Fat make his deliveries for the next 2 weeks.
Postman Fat!
So, real throwback.
Wow.
That's a real old reference. Good to know you've been around for that long. Love that.
Remembering references longer than we can.
I literally forgot we said that.
I really enjoy some people that just answer the question. So Carl's just gone for probably a finer community service. I don't know.
I really respect that. Sure,
fair enough. Not getting the concept of the game, but I enjoy.
No, they've actually got it right. We are asking these questions deadly seriously, and people just keep on taking the mickey out of us.
Oh, final one from me. He said he must host the Grid Walk in Las Vegas.
Yeah, why is Postman Fat in the hidden comments? There's another one in the hidden another one in the hidden comments I'm not going to read out, but
yeah, that one confused me as well. Any final ones, or are we all good for question of the week?
No, there's so many. We get so many on here. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Thank you so much for everyone that chips in. We love it.
The salty Wookie, you're a bad man.
You're a bad man.
A bad Wookie.
You bad Wookie. you got a sick line,
in case you didn't understand the English version.
Sorry, final one for Pinkers Rob. Just put hot lap Barry Manilow.
Is that like a weird...
What does that mean? Take one a hot lap.
Is it a drag artist name?
Hot
lap Barry Manilow.
Oh, good.
We'll be back with another question of the week next week. That would be the end of the podcast, but we do actually have one more thing we need to do. Unbelievably, because it is the final episode of the month, which means it's time for birthday shout-outs.
Way! So glad Ben remembered, because I didn't.
Sam's ready to go for the segment.
I am ready to go. Not too many in the October. By not too many, I mean quite literally the most we've had all year. So thank you to all of the support, to everyone that subscribes on our top tier. You are top tier people, and we love you. If you'd like to have your birthday shout out, or you're maybe on Patreon and don't know how, or you're not on Patreon yet, the link's in the description. You can subscribe. You just need to be on that top tier, and then you can send us a message in your welcome message box that you get and tell us your birthday and the name you'd like shouting out. We've got quite a few to run through. So just from the top to bottom, no particular order. Happy birthday to Ali for October 10th. Happy birthday to Jamie, October 16th. Happy birthday to Joshua Bingham, full named, on October 4th. Happy birthday to John Brandt on October 5th. Happy birthday to Amara on the 13th. Happy birthday to Lance Lucas, better than Stroll, who was October 5th. Happy birthday to Floppy Rooster, October 18th. Oh, I got the wrong Lance Lucas. He was October 26th. This is just Lucas.
Floppy
October
Rooster?
5th.
Who's that?
Floppy Rooster, October 18th. Happy birthday to Ryan, who is born apparently in all of October. Happy birthday to Joe, October 1st. Todd Crafton, October 19th. Happy birthday to you. And finally, Alex Campbell on October 26th. You share a birthday with Lance Lucas, better than Stroll, on October 26th as well. So many birthdays. And thank you again for all of your amazing support over on our Patreon.
Did you say Joshua Bingham? Isn't that the guy who does the lasagnas?
I don't understand the reference.
Don't worry, it's a Charlie Bingham's joke. Don't worry about it. I'm here all week.
Come on, man.
Right over my head. Literally haven't got it.
It's right, Ben and Kirsty left. I'll take 2 out of 3.
It's clearly for a younger demographic.
Goodness me, I think it's time to wrap this thing up. Sam, get us out of here.
Oh, folks, thanks for listening. It's been slightly unhinged. We appreciate your support. We'll be back throughout the weekend because, of course, it is a full sprint race weekend. So you get multiple review episodes, both on the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday, which is delightful for you. And Power Rankings will come on Monday as well, which is a Patreon exclusive. Join the Discord. The link's in the description. Follow us on social, Late Breaking F1, and you can watch this on YouTube, Late Breaking F1 as well. I think that's everything. In the meantime, I've been Samuel Sage.
I've been Ben Hocking.
And I've been Mr. Bridgestone.
And remember, keep breaking late.
That's Catalan.
Shut up.